And behind you, virtually, is the old Warner Brothers Foley Stage.
It is indeed.
Yeah, which I miss terribly. Why don't you tell me about your time there? You were there for a long time, weren't you?
Yeah, I was on this stage for about 15 years until they turned it into a dub stage,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But this was sort of a revamp we did. We took everything out of the stage and cleaned it. That's why it looks so nice and clean and organized. But I missed this stage very much. Lots of, the Matrix films were done there, and the Chris Nolan movies were done there, and it just had a lot of history to it. So
You still have my sand?
I do.
When this stage was decommissioned, I sent Allison a text and I said, "I gotta have something. Can you save me some sand from the sand pit?" And she didn't bat an eye. She, okay, sure. Because that's famous sand. I mean, there've been so many, footsteps and things. I mean, can you remember any sand anecdotes from that stage? And everybody has their favorite, like you were saying, hinges.
Yeah,
Before
I've
that happened
got
good.
yeah, like a squeaky hinge, which and
That's great.
the cheaper the better is what I say, because the nicer hinges sort of have this rubber in between so that they don't squeak. That's the
Right,
point. But
right.
you really want to find the ones that are gonna.
And you would have some that would be actually mounted on wood too for a different kind of
We would, or actually, it's really better to have it so you can put it on wood or on a metal
hold
door.
it down or yeah, okay.
Exactly, exactly. Because it'll sound, it resonates off that surface, so you get a
Right,
different sound.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Because I know, Jimmy McDonald was famous for all of his wonderful props and all that, and he would have little doors and things that, he would perform too. So
He was amazing.
yeah, no, he's a hero of mine.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been a webinar where I haven't mentioned Jimmy at least once. Foley is one of those aspects where, it's all performance based. I haven't even had my rant about the term Foley, which
Oh,
you and
yeah.
I have been through before. The term Foley, which comes from the performer Jack Foley, who pioneered this craft, refers specifically to sounds that are performed and recorded in sync to picture. There is a picture running on that screen behind you, and you're performing to it and recording those actions. Anything that isn't recorded to picture is just regular sound effects, because that's what Jack Foley perfected.
Right.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Well,
I'm,
and
I'm ending my
also,
rant very shortly.
no, but it's true. That's why I think some now people will record those sounds and will cut them in on the stage, and that's not Foley. That's
It's
now
wild
you're
sound effects.
sound
Yeah.
editing. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And also, the fact that it's called a Foley stage because the guys would, he built that little stage and the guys would go to do their syncing, which is what it was called.
Mhm.
And they'd say, we're going to Foley's stage to do our syncing.
That's
And
how it started. Yeah.
that's how it started. And
Yeah.
he unfortunately never got to see us become, it become a profession.
A
So,
real thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Halloween is just a few days away. And thinking of all those wonderful horror movies that we're watching stuck at home with COVID and everything like that,
right.
and listening to these wonderful, film tracks, you could bring some light on how to create some of these gory kind of,
Disgusting
yeah,
sounds.
bring the fear out of it by breaking the reality and showing us like I know, I don't know, whatever you want to start with. You've got a couple different things, so
Well, I think I'll start with I mean, this is something that is just a standard Foley prop, and it's basically a wet chamois cloth. So, chamois cloth is what you use to dry your car. You find it in the car part section of the hardware store.
but it's the
And
particular kind of fabric and the consistency of it that works really well for what you're
it
doing.
is, exactly. And you want to get a real chamois, they make fake chamois, which are more sponge like. I
Right.
will tell you, they don't sound the same. But if you can hear, this is sort of you get a really good
if someone's doing an autopsy or something, or I'm trying to think of some of the situations.
Yeah, any kind of gushy, bloody.
Yeah, yeah. Do you approach animation differently than a live action film? Because obviously in animation, there's nothing there. There's no production per se, and you're layering almost everything, or at least
Right.
what's cued for you to do. Do you look at it in a different way, or do you still consider it the same kind of
No,
method?
I think for animation everything's just a little more over the top.
Mm,
Everything's just a little bigger than what you know, than what it's going to be because it is animation, so everything's a little broader. But there are some sound effects that have been cut in by an assistant. Usually, will cut in some sound effects so that, and then sometimes they fall in love with those sound effects.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you have to go, okay, well, I wonder if you know if I can try something different than maybe you're not used to. When we were doing Tangled, we whenever we would do a Disney film, there was always a day where the two directors and the editor and the producer would come in, and we would play a reel back, and they could see the progress of what was happening.
sure.
And in Tangled, it was a scene where she finds the her tiara, the crown, and the director said, "Yeah, well, we want that to sound really substantial. It's gold. It should be heavy." And I said, I said, as a little girl at heart, I think I would like it to sound very magical and petite, and it was just the opposite of what they said. So I said, I'll do both for you. I'll give you two different options, and they went with mine, which I felt really good. But they were like, oh yeah, maybe you're right. It should sound a little prettier than.
I've had many instances where they've fallen in love with something on their temp track that there's no convincing them to replace it with something better or
Right, right.
more, recorded better or more high fidelity or whatever reason. That's just, it was there from the beginning. They love it.
Yeah,
Leave it
yeah.
in.